Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we are back again with another class breakdown. So to recap, so far we have broken down tech, mystic and skill classes, but today we're going to be talking about cosmic class. Now in order to help me out convey my point slightly better, hopefully, we're going to be jumping to Aunt May's website. Aunt May is a fantastic tool. I cannot stop recommending to everybody. And here we can immediately notice that Cosmic Class is big. In fact, Cosmic Class is the largest class in the game with 38 champions. Second class is Mystic, and then the rest of the four classes are quite significantly smaller, to be honest. Right, so Cosmic Class consists of 21 hero champions, of 13 villain champions, and 4 champions with no tags. And 3 of those 4 champions are in fact Thanos Corps. So it's a very interesting train of thought here, whoever is assigning these tags, because Thanos is a villain, and if you are villain's underling, villain's lackey, or I don't know, worshipper, whatever Thanos Corps are to Thanos, then you're not a bad guy anymore. You're not a villain yourself, you're just helping one. Or it might have something to do with Blade being a champion that's destroying everything at a time when these champions were released. Either way, another known no-tag champion is the champion, which I actually wasn't aware of, so I did find that quite interesting. Now, a few more interesting things about Cosmic Class now. Number one is the fact that they only have 4 bleed immune champions. Technically, there are a couple more champions that can deal with bleed effects, like Angela and Corvus Glaive. Sorry. But in general, yes, there are only 4 bleed immune champions in Cosmic Class, and for a class that size, that's actually a surprisingly small amount. Another myth that I got to bust preparing for this video is because in my head, I thought majority of the Cosmic champions are poison immune. I genuinely thought that a lot of Cosmic champions are fully poison immune. And that's false. There's only 8 of them technically. And if you take a look from 2015, 16, and 17 list, then 7 of those 8 champions actually came out, 2017 and before that, so not in the last 3.5 years. So that might have used to be a thing, where poison immunity is a very kind of like big part of Cosmic Class, but it certainly hasn't held up, and most of the recent champions in Cosmic Class actually have no poison immunity at all whatsoever. But yeah, in my head, I always made that association where Cosmic Champion typically is poison immune because of these Hyperions, Medusas, Ronins, Captain Marvels, and stuff like that. But that's wrong. It's literally just them, not many more. Now, again, there are a couple more champions who can technically deal with poison, just like Angela, who can deal with all damage over time debuffs under certain conditions. And then we had somebody else here, King Groot, who can shrug off the poisons, for instance. But yeah, there are only 8 poison immune characters, and majority of those 8 characters are severely outdated. So when it comes to actually working, usable, relevant champions in the game, not many poison immune champs there at all. That definitely did surprise me. But Cosmic Class is also very rich with different random type of immunities, with shock immunity, incinerate immunity, with cold snap immunity. We can go down the list, and again, I'm going to mention Angela as being able to do having pseudo immunity to every debuff, damage over time. Then we have Annihilus, who have cold snap immunity, and I believe incinerate immunity. Then we do have Cosmic Ghost Rider, incinerate immunity. Then we're going to have Terax, who I believe shock immune, Super Skrull, shock and incinerate immunity. Red Goblin, incinerate immunity. So I can see that there is definitely quite large of amount of champions that are immune to like your non-standard stuff. Right. Another thing that I think needs to be, well, I hope it's not really common outlook on Cosmic Class right now, is that Cosmic Class is very strong and powerful. No, I don't think so. And in fact, I do think that Cosmic Class is one of the 2 weakest classes in the game right now. Together with Tech Class, and rest of the classes are quite significantly ahead. I have heard time and time again content creators say there's such a huge competition for Cosmic Catalyst, or there's so many great Cosmic Champions. Not really, if you think about it, especially when you look at 6-star roster, because 2 of the best Cosmic Champions are not even available as 6 stars. And I think Cosmic Class has very, very strong top 5, let's say. But after that, it falls off quite rapidly, and then there are about 5 to 7 champions that are all right. But then we have 20 champions or 20 plus champions that are quite garbage. And the reason for that is that for whatever reason, in the last 4 years, about 3 out of 4 Cosmic Champions released in this game are, well, poopish. Quite bad. We can take a look at 2021. Neither Odin or Super Skrull are turning heads by themselves at all. 2020, we got Cosmic Ghost Rider, who obviously is a great champion, but then we have Nova, Airwalker, Red Goblin, and Terex. Now, Terex, even after a buff, is said, let's say, mediocre, but definitely, in my opinion, not worth the rank up for offensive purposes. Red Goblin, some people are die-hard fans of him. There are some very fun and cool things, but he's also not really a champion that I personally recommend to rank up for people, especially not over Venom. Right, now we're going to take a look at 2019, and again, we do have Captain Marvel movie, who is regarded as a great champion, but then we have Annihilus, Kal, Silver Surfer, and Vision Arcus, who are all right-ish champions, but don't really shine. 2018, similar story, we have Corvus, who is great, and then we have middle-of-the-pack champions, and that has been the situation with Cosmic Class for ages, where it's almost as a rule of thumb that 3 out of 4 Cosmic Champions released are going to be unused and will have no impact to the game, and then there's going to be one great champion. But unfortunately, statistically, that means that Cosmic Class has probably the largest amount of, well, sucky champions. But let's move on. Right. So what are the strong sides of Cosmic Class? What is the typical Cosmic champion in your head? What are the first things that pop into mind? Well, the first point that popped into mind is buffs. Cosmic Class always has access to many different types of buffs, and that is true 100% of the case, even with the most outdated champions. 100% of champions in Cosmic Class have access to some form sort of buffs. And perhaps even more interestingly, something that might have gone unnoticed is that 32 of these champions, so vast majority, all but 6, have access to fury buffs specifically. So damage increase is kind of like Cosmic's forte via use of buffs. Obviously, besides fury buffs, they have access to power gains, cruelties, precisions, true strikes, true accuracies, vigilance, and a whole bunch of different things as well. But fury buff is definitely the dominant kind of like buff in Cosmic Class in general. Right, the second thing is reliance on debuffs and access to debuffs. Now, that actually in itself now is also very, very helpful, because debuffs synergize very well with Despair Mastery, and that means that pretty much every, or well, vast majority of the Cosmic Champions are able to do some form of healing mitigation with Despair Mastery, which is great, but also these debuffs obviously do accomplish other roles, like further increasing your damage or just inflicting damage over time. And again, quite interestingly, 26 champions in Cosmic Class flat out has access to armor break buff. And that's even more fascinating, considering that there are a lot of older Cosmic Champions that have not gotten rework. And that pretty much means that every single Cosmic Champion released in the recent years has access to armor breaks. And that is by no accident. I actually listened to MCOC podcast with Kabam John not too long ago, and Kabam John there flat out said that it is no coincidence that every single Cosmic Champion that has come out in recent years has armor break. And also, more interestingly, they access the armor break without actually landing a special attack or landing a hit. You can see that Airwalker randomly armor breaks opponents. Annihilus can do it on a hit in the block, so can Captain Marvel movie. Then we have Cosmic Ghost Rider, who can start the fight with an armor break active. Then we have what else we have here? Silver Surfer uses special one on heavy attack, armor breaks the opponent. Terex stand close, armor breaks the opponent, so on and so forth. And that is quite deliberately to slow down Ghost. They did fully admit to that, and the fact that, yeah, even Angela now inflicts armor break even if you don't connect your special attack is, well, flat out to limit the potential of Ghost. But in itself, it also offers, obviously, additional piece of utility, and they're able to counter armor buffs very well. That works as a damage increase. It synergizes with Despair, and quite frequently it's just a useful thing to have. But yeah, 26 champions have access to armor break, but obviously then they also have access to cold snap, they have access to bleeds, with Venom, the Duck, and Venom. They have access to Incinerate in several cases, and in general, they do have quite a lot of buffs and debuffs, which typically come together for one purpose and one purpose only, which is their third strong point, damage. Every single good Cosmic Champion, or every single Cosmic Champion that does matter and get used in the game, has great damage output, and it's always listed as one of their strong sides because all of those fury buffs, all of those armor breaks, damage over time effects come together. And Cosmic is a great, let's say, questing class. They have access to great burst damage, and even Cosmic champions that are somewhat of a failures and somewhat of irrelevant champions, for most cases, frequently can access very large amounts of damage. Even Nova, nobody plays Nova, but he does still hit hard. Even Hela has always been able to output possibly the biggest numbers in the game, and she has gotten more coverage after the release of Odin as well. And another interesting side note is that Cosmic Class is basically the home of True Strikes, True Accuracy, and Vigilance buffs. Now, Vigilance being the newest buff, specifically countering Miss Mechanic, that is present, I believe, in Super Scroll. It's present in Silver Surfer. It's present in True Strike's present in this guy. Don't think he has Vigilance, but in general, their Vigilance is basically tied very closely with Cosmic Class, so it's True Strike and True Accuracy buffs. So they are, by definition, quite good miss and evade counters. It's great because Cosmic Class is also a very aggressive class. Speaking of that, let's move on to their weaknesses and their weak points. And number one, the base idea that comes in my head is that Cosmic Class in general is quite light in utility, and any utility that typically happen to have maybe outside of top 6, top 10 champions is just by happenstance some random immunity, or the fact that, buffs enable you to do buffed up node and things like that. But in general, when push comes to shove, when you put Cosmic Champions in Alliance for Alliance Quest, most of the Cosmic Champions don't really offer too much. It is a class that's excessively centered towards damage, and probably not enough focused on landing that damage, connecting, being able to use that damage. And obviously, the exception here would be the best champions of Cosmic Class, which is the reason why they are the best champions of the Cosmic Class. For instance, Hela likely has the biggest damage output in the class, or in the game possibly, but she's still not used. Why? Because there's nothing helpful other than damage. That's why Captain Marvel movie, Corvus, so on and so forth, are being used, because they access the damage very quickly, easily, and they do additional things like Glaive's immortality, or Captain Marvel movie's ability to shrug off all debuffs or go completely indestructible for a fairly long amount of time. But in general, outside of the very top, Cosmic Class does lack meaningful utility in majority of their champions. Right, the second problem with Cosmic Class, and it is the simple thing that they are the most soft countered class, where they often are just the collateral damage. Cosmic champions basically depend on every single thing that fights typically hinder in this game, and unless you are able to fight freely and access your rotations completely undisturbed, most of the Cosmic champions fumble and are being unable to use. What do I mean exactly here? With the exception of very old Cosmic champions, every single Cosmic champion typically does have fairly aggressive playstyle, where you have to be able to access every single special attack as and when needed, where you have to be able to land full combos, for instance, in order to open up Cosmic Ghost Rider, where you have to be able to access buffs and debuffs simultaneously. And all of these conditions come together and unfortunately make Cosmic Class the most easy to counter in game, period, because most of the new Cosmic champions can't function properly against debuff immune matchups. Most of the Cosmic champions can't function properly in any matchups that prevent you from accessing your buffs normally. And it's very, very easy to make sure that a Cosmic Champion can't be used in a fight, because they rely on everything going perfectly, and there are like 6 or 5 different things that have to come together. Like, you need to be able to stun your opponent, in case of Captain Marvel movie. You need to be able to debuff them properly, and they can't be armor break immune. Then you need to be able to access your buffs. You need to be able to be aggressive, and you can't just wait out things for it to happen. For instance, if they have some away timers or unstoppables. And all of that means that it's very easy to make sure that you can't use, let's say, Captain Marvel movie in a fight. And the same goes for vast majority of the Cosmic Champions, with possible exceptions, let's say, there of Hyperion, Corvus, who largely overcome that. But most of other Cosmic Champions have that very, very big problem, where they rely on every aspect working perfectly. And therefore, any meaningful node can hinder Cosmic Champions easily. And the third biggest weakness is something that I slightly touched upon here, is unstoppable buffs. And more specifically, Cosmic class is the only class with no champion at all whatsoever that has access to slow debuff, so you can't deal with unstoppables. And obviously, Cosmic isn't Mystic class, so you can't really nullify anything. There are a couple of Cosmic champions that can deal with buffs to a degree, which I'm going to mention later. But obviously, looking at like Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's one of the reasons why I think he's such a great addition to the Cosmic class, is the fact that he has relatively good amount of buff control in his kit. But other than that, unstoppable buff or any nodes and buffs that force you to slow down the fight typically creates a lot of problems for Cosmic class in general, because a lot of things depend on very specific rotations, on you being able to be aggressive, like Terrax, and maintaining your energy field, like Captain Marvel movie, and being able to get your charges up in time. So if opponent's unstoppable and you can't stun them, let's say, and you can't drop those heavy attacks to get your charges up, you're just gonna exit your binary. Similar with Obsidian and capitalizing on those Thanos' favors, and so on and so forth. So if you can force the fight to slow down, majority of the Cosmic Champions suffer greatly because of it. And Unstoppable is a specific bane in the side of Cosmic class in general, as they have no real ways to deal with it, outside of a couple exceptions. Right, so let's move on to the final bit. So let's talk about the MVPs, some of the best uses, and also maybe a slight tip and trick that many of you did not know. So first thing, obviously, the best Cosmic Champions, in my opinion, in no particular order here, would be Corvus Glaive, Captain Marvel movie, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Hyperion, and Venom. Venom being the best champion for variants in general. Venom alone can basically tackle half of the variants, which is more than any other champion in the game, because he's symbiote, so variant 5, he's villain, so variant 6, he's extra large, so variant 2, so on and so forth. So Venom is great for majority of the variants. But yeah, that is basically the top. Then we do have still like Medusa, like Vision Arcus, who are also good champions, but they're not quite up there. And then we have about, like, yeah, as I said, 6 champions that are very great in Cosmic class. We have about 4 or 5 champions that are all right, and then most of them don't really have any significant meaning in this game. Looking at like Symbiote Spideys, Venom Pools, Captain Marvels, Miss Marvels, Airwalkers, or what have you. There are many Cosmic champions that just can do nothing. Right, another key aspect to Cosmic class is the fact that they are a class of shenanigans. As I said, 32 of them have access to Fury buffs, and now with the addition of Odin, who can make them more potent, we have several synergies with Nick Fury or Captain America Infinity War or Black Bolt that can extend the durations of those Fury buffs in general, and an average, relatively recent Cosmic Champion can access to some form of shenanigans and some very ridiculous damage boosts. So as I have criticized Cosmic class for maybe not being the most filled with utility, but they are one of the most fun filled classes that can put a lot of smile on your face with either interesting playstyles or very big yellow and red numbers or brown numbers. And Hela and Cosmic Ghost Rider and Carnage. There are a ton of extremely fun champions that might not do the most for your account, but they could do the most for your enjoyment for the game, which is also not irrelevant. So yes, the strong side of Cosmic Class in general is an average questing scenario. Basically, when you are in a sandbox fighting Iron Patriot or any average opponent where you do not have any issues getting buffs, inflicting debuffs, stunning the opponents and stuff like that, then they are arguably the best questing class, or at the very least one of the best questing classes. Like when you have to deal with relatively stacked opponents that are not overly hard, Cosmic Ghost Rider is probably the best option. Cosmic Ghost Rider is the best Realm of Legends potion farmer. And then we have a ton of champions like Corvus, who's the best Legends runner and is just great for like your casual questing situations, so on and so forth. So that is kind of like currently the role in Cosmic Class. It's not really the most meaningful thing. I do hope that Cosmic Class gains some sort of more proper, meaningful identity and they start filling the class with some more utility. But there is still quite a lot of work to be done there. And to finish it off with a nice tip or trick is that, as I said, Cosmic Class does have a lot of access to armor break, but often you are unable to either debuff the opponents or opponents are specifically armor break immune, and quite often you need to get rid of those armor breaks and perhaps in some cases other buffs. There are still options in Cosmic Class that I definitely wanted to mention. For instance, Captain Marvel movie version, and I believe not many people know about this, can actually just get rid of all opponents' armor up effects by punishing opponent's heavy attack with a heavy attack of her own. So if opponent charges heavy attack and you use your own heavy attack, you will not only stun an opponent, but you will also remove all of their armor up effects. And then we do have a couple of more options. Obviously, Cosmic Ghost Rider, if awakened, has access to Fate Seal, and he can nullify all the... Well, it's not technically a nullify, but you can get rid of all the armor up effects. We do have Venompool, who also has ability similar to Venom, where on Special 1 you can nullify opponent's buffs and trigger regeneration. Then obviously Venom, who can do the same. And then last couple of things would be Venom the Duck, who can benefit from opponents having armor ups and actually inflict a lot more damage. And you can capitalize on armor up effects with Ronan, who is actually also able to convert armor ups into armor breaks, which is something not too many people know. With his heavy attack, if opponent has an armor up effect, you convert armor up into an armor break. Just a small tip there. But that is it. I hope I haven't taken too much time out of your day, guys, and I hope you find the video useful. If you did, hit that like button, and I will catch you guys soon with a next class breakdown or a different type of video. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information